Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd. So, for many of you who have followed my class for all 7 classes and you saw how I made this figure. Well, not everyone, not this figure, but how I made this figure. But not everyone has been watching all 7 classes. So this is a quick update on how to make your own 2000X Skeletor to look like Classics. So first I started with this figure right here. And when I had this figure, I ended up taking off his boots, taking off his loincloth, taking off his armor, and taking off his head, and was left with that bare body by itself. And so that way I would have a kind of my base body to use. Then I ended up using these boots right here for the bottom part. And then I ended up using his feet for the actual feet for Skeletor. Now, it took a whole lot of different kinds of painting and everything else, step by steps. But then I had to use a real 2000X figure. I cut the arms off, just like that. Snapped the figure in half, just like this. And then carefully pulled off the loincloth as well. And you'll see this in my class number 7. I'll put a link to it in the description. So after I broke that apart, I then sanded out the inside of the loincloth and got that all prepared as well. I then put on different shorts on him. You'll see in my class 7, and I might take some clips from it and put it on here. And then I got a head from my friend Lorna Sharp, who runs Plastic Curves, and she got me this really cool Skeletor head in clear. And then I took the head and I painted it, leaving a clear patch right in the back right there, which allows me to take a light and shine it through the head to light up the eyes. You can see that or not. Brrr. Kind of cool, kind of fun. Light up Skeletor eyes. And of course I took the accessories from the 2000X figure for the Havoc staff, and then took this from the weapons pack for Skeletor's 2-part sword. Now, I was thinking about using the sword that came with the 2000X figure that I pulled apart. But the reason why I did not use this was with one hand only, sometimes it keeps falling apart. Now, my actual 2000X Skeletor I actually put some O-rings on it to hold it together, here and here. But I find that it's kind of a hassle to do when you want to pull it apart and pretend like he's using both pieces and spinning them around and stuff. The cape is from Darth Vader. This is Darth Vader's cape from the Black series. And it works really good for a big, massive cape. You can see that cape's huge, so you can do all kinds of cool folds and put it over his shoulder on one side or under on the other side, however you want to do it. So there is my 2000X Skeletor. And I will put a whole bunch of links down below. You know what? I'm going to take a bunch of video clips and stick it on here. So if you want to keep watching, I will include a bunch of video clips on how to get these pieces out for the arms, because those are so cool. And then how to get the loincloth off and how to put it all together. So stay tuned for that. And as far as this live portion, this is the end of that. I'll put a link to Plastic Curves for you so you guys can order your own heads. She's got all kinds of stuff, from arms to pieces to heads to weapons to everything else. So she's a great resource for stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say my salutations now, and just stay tuned for some video clips showing you some of the steps and processes to make your own 2000X custom Skeletor as cool as this one. Let's get the eyes again. You did this to me, Randor. Ah! All right, and if I don't see you at the end of the video, because I don't think I'm going to make a clip at the end, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and hang out for all the clips showing you guys some of the steps to actually make this guy. Bye now. This is the Filmation Ultimate Skeletor by Super 7. And this will be my base figure that I'm going to use for our final class. So I have to get some prep work done on him. So I'm going to actually open him right here live. And he's a pretty cool figure. He comes with the diamond ray and disappear. So Will asks, what am I up to? So what I'm up to is actually every Saturday we have classes that we have. And this Saturday is our last one, our 7th one. And I'm going to use this figure to finalize the last class. If you haven't seen the classes yet, go back and check it out. There are already 6 of them done. And this class, I'll also have a PDF you guys can print showing that you successfully completed all 7 classes. You can add your name to it and print it out. Kind of a fun little thing. And so that way then if you've watched all 7 classes, print your PDF, then you can say that you have joined Heroes Masters classes. And I call it Masters classes because they're Masters of the Universe. So, kind of cool. Alright, so, awesome giant Havoc staff. And there it is. Cool little diamond radius appearance. Thanks, Red Hood. And of course we got the cool battle axe with the orb on top. And now they have these cards for us, but I'm always afraid to get these cards out without ripping them. They have like they're taped in place. And I ripped more of these than I haven't because they put the tape on these. I don't know why they just don't set them in the box instead of taping them in the box. Mattel, if you're listening, let's tape. Alright, now one thing that bothers me about Super 7 are these straps right here. They use these metal wires with a plastic piece in front, and the plastic is to protect the figure from getting any kind of paint coming off. But sometimes that will actually cause the paint to stick to it. We've seen some of the female figures where they paint the bellies and they have that plastic on there. For some reason the paint actually adheres to it and ruins the figure. So again, careful with that. Cool, awesome Filmation sword. The laughing head. And finally, pop them out of here. There we go. Super 7 Ultimate Filmation Skeletor. Now this particular Skeletor, as cool as he is, he has like ratcheting arms, and he has ratcheting knees, and they actually have the boot fixed correctly on this one, so it's nice and tight like it's supposed to be. He has the boot cut, and then up here at the top his legs also ratchet in and out, but not back and forth. Those are just standard. Shoulders, bicep, ab crunch, and of course the armor is actually glued in because Super 7 likes to glue it, so it's kind of a pain to take off. And worse than that, they even glued the shorts. So if you're a guy who likes to do customizations of these, they use so much glue on this, it is crazy. So last time I tried to remove the shorts to use for different custom, and I was unable to. I had to end up just cutting it to fit. And I'm afraid that I'll probably have to do that again for this figure on this weekend. Alright, so this is my base figure that I'm going to use for our cool custom. We're going to work on the cuffs for our 2000X Skeletor. And the goal is to get these cuffs on these arms. So, first thing we have to do is heat up the Skeletor's arms. There we go. Stick them in the hot water. While we're at it, let's get these ones ready too. Pull the hands off. It does feel very rubbery and soft. That's what we're looking for. See how pliable this is now? So now that's pliable, we'll just stick that arm right in there. Line it all up. And chop it right off. Alright, we got one. And we have two. There we go. The Skeletor definitely needs some help. Let's go ahead and get this started. pulled off his boots. So this guy's just about ready to go. So let's go ahead and with Super 7, you always want to heat them up before you pull them apart. So let's go ahead and heat them up a little bit. I'm going to toss him in here, and I want to pull off his hands and his head. And then eventually we're going to pull off his legs too. So let's get his hands and head off. We'll just drop him in the vat of boiling water. There we go. Purple. Now I wanted more than just this boot though. I wanted it to look more like the 2000X. So what I did was I made this overlay piece, that 2000X look. So you can see kind of how that goes on there. But I didn't want to glue it on in case I wanted to pull it off. That way I could have both looks. And then to hold it in place, I just grabbed one of my wife's hair rubber bands. Just going to stick it on over the top of this just to kind of keep it in place there. And then make sure it stays on tight. And the paint's still pretty fresh on these, so I got to be careful about how I use the paint on that. And there we go. There's a 2000X. I'm going to go ahead and heat those up so they're ready to go. So I'm dropping those in the vat as well. Let's go ahead and pull this Skeletor out. Take off his head. Take off his hands. And we're going to reuse his hands, so we got to make sure we save those. And now to get his armor off. Now his armor is glued in place by these two pinch points right here. So you can either take and break one of the paint or just get it a little warm and just kind of stretch it up over the top. So when it came to his armor, I wanted to get a 2000X Skeletor that did not have a hole in the back of his armor. So here is our 2000X Skeletor, and this one's not going to be mutilated. This is my keeper one. And he has a button right here, and it causes a hole to be in his armor. But if you buy the Skeletor that comes in the pack that comes with that big battle ram chariot, because there's no action feature, there's no hole in the armor. And so that's why I wanted to use this one in particular. Now what's interesting is this figure here was also from the same set, and no hole in the, or no button in the back, but his did have a hole in the back, and they painted his armor on his legs black on his shorts. So it's kind of weird that they had two different versions they released. Now this figure I'm not going to destroy because I like the yellow paint on it, but I am going to take his armor and then I'm going to set him aside so I don't accidentally break the wrong figure. So I'm going to set this guy aside because I want him to be preserved. Get the armbands out of there. And these armbands are pretty difficult to put on. I suggest that you put them on, you aim them so that they aim towards the spot right there, lined up. And this is why I use the Filmation Skeletor for this, because his arms are smooth right here, so you can slide these on easier. Yep, it's going to take some more heating than what I have just from that little... Let's grab the heat gun. How to do stop motion. So let's see if I can get that on there. Almost. So close. A little bit more heat. All right, so that one's on there, looks pretty good. Now for the other side. Come on, you can do it. Ugh. There we go. There's one hand. There is the other hand. All right. I think I might have slid that back a little bit by forcing it the wrong way. There we go. So, how cool looking is that? We are partway there already. Alright, so let's go ahead and see if we can get this loincloth off and these legs. I'll toss him back in the water. We'll use his arms to keep his torso from going too deep in the water. So you can kind of see how I have him sitting there. This blue tack has gone through a lot. I have painted it so many times. I have heated it up many times trying to get the paint to cure quickly. Now let's take out the other eye. Alright, let's see if we can't get this other eye cleaned out. Skeletor, what did you stuff in your eye, man? So what I'll probably do is after I get this out, I'll probably do a little bit of paint cleanup right around the eyes. So, here's the head, and there are the eyes. Check that out. So, kind of cool concept of using the back of his head to light his eyes up. So there you go. Let's go ahead and see if we can get his legs off now. Now let's see if they glued it on this time or if I can actually get it off. It's so strange with Super 7. It's always kind of a hit and miss whether you're going to actually be able to work on the figures or not. Sometimes the paint apps are just all over the place. Alright, this one might come off. That'd be great if it could because I want to use this for a different custom later on. So this time they did not glue it on there. The last one was glued so much I couldn't even get it off at all. So this is great news. Because I really want to save this loincloth so I can use the matching armor on some other figures some other time. Oops, sorry I'm out of the camera view, but I'm trying to fight this loincloth. I am so glad this one's not glued. Because now, like I said, I can have a matching set now. Ba-ding! That I can use with some other figures sometime. Alright, so now, the problem we have, if I just stick on the loincloth right now, it is going to be way too tight around this waist. So I got to somehow bump that out. We'll stick that on. I guess for our wedding we could stick his armor on. See how that looks. Now this armor does fit a little smaller on this figure, so I may heat it up and stretch it to fit better. And normally I'd actually go along and try to use some kind of regular Classics armor, but I decided this time I'm just going to go with the 2000X armor to do it. So there we go. And again, I wanted this one because there's no hole in the back for the button, which for me was really important. I'm probably going to go back and repaint some stuff on this. I'm probably going to paint these top flanges black to match. So let's go ahead and slide that on. I'm going to set this aside for right now because we need to get working on this or we're going to run out of time. That'd be kind of fun to see. All right, let's go and snap this guy in half. Make sure it's the one I want to snap in half. Here we go, you guys. Grab them, break them. Grab them, break them. And there we go. There is the loincloth we're going to use. So now we have to heat it up and cut around it. Then cut around this on top. All right. So you can see the leftover part on the inside. I'm now going to take and sand that out with my Dremel tool. All right. Let's go ahead and sand this thing down. Let's go ahead and put this loincloth back on. Now, to get this loincloth back on, notice there's a wide section and a small section. And then if you take a look, there's a wide one on this side and a small one on the other side. So that's how you know to orientate it correctly. You put it over the tabs, force it up as high as you can with your fingers. If you can, get it up above the little hip area, just like that. Once you get it above the hip area, everything else is pretty easy. Now this one's actually closed in front, so it's like underwear as opposed to a loincloth. Get it up as high as you can while it's still hot. Then use your screwdriver and pull it out and stick it back into the gap that you pulled it. Now what's going to happen as time goes on, this is going to get really loose, his legs here. So I'm going to do a preemptive fix right now and get his legs fixed. So to fix them, I use 2 O-rings, and then I use this tool right here to stretch them out. So you want to stretch them out like you do a balloon before you blow it up. Basically, make it so they can stretch really easily. And this tool is on my tools list from my first video. So if you go to my first video of the classes, you'll find this on there. And then just slide it up over the tab. Get it up over the leg part. And then just slide it up and around, up into the seam of the leg right there. And now it makes it so that's a much tighter, so you don't have to worry about the legs getting all flopsy mopsy on you later on. Oop. And you guys know with these figures, they get pretty flopsy sometimes, the joints. So it's good to have tricks in order to tighten them up. Now, some people use like furniture polish or floor polish or other things. This just seems to work pretty good, just to stuff an O-ring in the hole. There we go. Let's go ahead and get his loincloth out of there. Let's stick it on. I'm going to go ahead and put his legs in there so they're ready to be put on in a few minutes. So his legs are sitting in the hot water now. And to get this on, you just stretch it over the shorts you just put on. And sometimes it can be quite the tricky task because it's wet, it's kind of slippery. So close. Ha! I know it sounds funny. I'm pretty excited that I got that loincloth off. I thought for sure I was going to end up having to cut it like I did my last one I made similar to this. All right, there you go. And the trick to this is to have that loincloth on there. Otherwise, it's so tight, it would actually suck in and be smaller than his waist and look kind of weird. So you want to have that loincloth on underneath there to give it that aesthetic look, so it's not like he's wearing super, super tight shorts. All right, let's get his legs back on. Now make sure you put the big muscle on the inside of the leg, on the inside. There's one leg. Ugh. This one's just not wanting to go. There we go. Now let's get his cool new boots on. Now I purposely put an earplug in here before I painted it. That way then I would not get the paint in the hole. And let's... Ha! Got one on. Oh, look at that. Because the Super 7 one is not, so I'll have to wait till that cools before I move it. But there he is. Put his Havoc staff in his hand. Ta-da! Oh, where's that flashlight? Oh, there we go. And this was my 2000X Skeletor, and I finally finished the paint on his face. Looks much cleaner now. Check that out. I took a lot of work to get that just right. And something else, I took black paint and put it on the inside of the eyes. So, where is my flashlight? Here it is. So when I light up his eyes, let's see how this works. Ba-ching. So when I light up his eyes, it's not so big. So that was the idea. So there we go. My 2000X Skeletor with the light up eyes. And basically just a flashlight behind his head. And what I forgot to mention too was I actually added a cape to him. And this cape actually belongs to Darth Vader. When I made my Darth Vader figure, I stole his cape because I had figured he's not going to need it anymore. And I knew I was going to use it when I made this custom Skeletor. I also painted his toenails black so it matches his fingernails. And like I said, did a lot of cleanup around the face and the head. I added an O-ring on the inside of the head so it can pop off and on really easy now. And mess with the armor so it fits better. And that's pretty much... Oh, also, I did not like the new leg pieces. So I'm glad I didn't glue them on. I just thought it was just too much and just too big and bulky to have those on there. And so I decided, instead of having those big bulky leg pieces on there, which work great for 2000X as well, which is just those right there, I may put some pinkish type color to match his stone in his chest, kind of purplish pink color, in the legs down here. All right, so that is where I'm at with that figure. All right. Man, I am tired. I will talk to you guys next video. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and let's get this channel booming, you guys. Thanks for all your help. Bye now.